Hi, my name is Angela and I'm with Threadwickle Quilting in Raleigh, North Carolina. And today I'm going to be loading my new Ellie long arm on a halo frame. Ellie is the newest long arm in the APQS lineup. She is our smallest long arm and she is coming on a halo frame, which is a type of hoop frame. So when you are loading on a long arm, typically you have really long rollers that you are pinning to your rollers and rolling up. So on a traditional long arm, you do not have to pre-sandwich your quilt top. When you are using a halo frame, you do need to pre-sandwich it. And there's many, many videos out there on how to actually get the 3 sandwiches together correctly so that you will not get pleats. I used a combination of spray basting my quilt top, and also you'll see some straight pins in there as well to make sure that it's really stable. Now, when you are putting this on the frame, width-wise, your backing does not need to be substantially bigger than your quilt. You're going to notice that mine's probably about 4 inches bigger. So width-wise, it's not a huge deal to have the backing and the quilt top be about the same size. Height-wise, so the part that I'm actually going to attach to the top and the bottom roller, it is very important that they be bigger. And if you're planning on turning this quilt because you're going to be doing border treatments that you want to do across this direction, you would need to have it on all 4 sides, right? So whatever you're planning on, actually attaching to the top and bottom of this frame needs to be bigger. So you're going to notice when I pull this up, I've got 10 inches. So the instructions say somewhere between 6 and 8 inches of extra backing on your sandwich. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm more comfortable with 10. So at least starting out, I would make it bigger than you need it to be. And then later, as you feel more confident, you can reduce the size of your backing. I think you could probably get it down to 8 inches. You would probably have a problem with 6 inches if you wanted to quilt all the way to the edge of your quilt, especially on the bottom, because your long arm doesn't come as far forward in this direction as it will go back in the other direction. You lose about 1.5 inches on the front of your frame, and you only lose about 3/4 of an inch on the back of your frame. Okay, so and you're gonna lose more going back later as you build up quilt on that part of the frame. This is with nothing on the frame. Okay, so just, I would say do bigger to start out with. And then mine is gonna fit completely on the frame. So when I put this on across my frame, you're gonna notice that my backing floats completely inside the width of this frame. It's just a little donation quilt. If I was doing a king size quilt, I would have backing sticking way over here to the right because of the way I think I would start on the top left inside of my quiltable space and then be moving this towards the left as I was quilting the first, pass across my quilt. So you will end up, if you have a big quilt with quilt draped over the edges, I don't have that situation right now. So I will be using the side clamps because I can't clamp my backing to my side rails and it's gonna load just fine, okay? So how do we get this on here? You can start in the middle of your quilt and work out, or the middle of your frame and work out. I've done it a couple different ways to see what works for me, and to be honest, I'm not seeing a difference either way. So I'm just gonna start on one side and work on getting this straight across to my frame. Important things to also know, if you are used to using a traditional long arm, typically the take-up roller, which would be this back roller, you go under it and over when you are rolling it so that it'll roll up and build up on that roller. In this case, we are going to go over the top of the back support. So I'm going to take my my backing, I am straight across the top. We did make sure of that. And I am just going to load it over. And with my fingers, I'm going to load it from the front of the frame. With my fingers, I'm going to make sure that the straight backing is even with the bottom of the square support. And I'm going to put the clamps straight down on this back section. And I'm going to put enough clamps in to hold it in place, but I'm going to add some clamps in between them. On this back roller, I like my clamps kind of close together. On the front roller, I tend to not put in as many clamps. You get 20 of these little roller clamps with your system. And I probably will not use all of my clamps to do this. So yeah. Okay, so then I'm just gonna add some clamps in between to make sure that it's nice and secure on that roller. Okay, so that's how I put the back on. Now the front, I want it to stay square and even, so I am going to just grab my top. Your natural inclination is to clamp down this way. That actually puts your entire sandwich on an angle. We want it to stay flat. So you're going to straighten your quilt out, and I do the edge of my quilt, not the edge of my backing first, and you're gonna clamp sideways, which will keep it nice and flat. And then I'm gonna put the clamp on the edge. I'm gonna do this same thing where I'm walking down my quilt, just keeping it nice and straight. You don't need as many clamps on the front. So that's kind of nice. I'm gonna do the same thing. I have a pin in my way over here. I'm gonna take that out, clamp the edge of my quilt again, and then I'm gonna use one more of my clamps, and I'm gonna clamp over here on the side. So you can see I don't use many quilts on the front of it. You just need it to be stabilized. I'm ready to quilt. Oh, I am not ready to quilt. I have one more thing I need to do before I can quilt. Haven't put the side clamps on yet. So I'm going to come over and put my little side clamps on. The way these little side clamps work, you need to turn, it's righty-tighty, turn the little dial on the side clamp, and I'll show you when we get to the other side where it's a little easier for you to see. And then it's like a parachute cord that you push the button and pull the little shock cord to get it on. And I did that. I tend to like my clamps, I tied loosely into place. I tend to like my clamps going over my pole because it keeps my sandwich really flat. It's all about me keeping the sandwich flat in this case. So I'm gonna put this on and I'm gonna change the other clamp so it's going around the top of my pole instead of going around the bottom of my pole. So I'm gonna loosen that real quick, loosen my shock cord, and I want it to go like this. And the reason that I do this is I'm a custom quilter, so I want to be able to do things like do ruler work on this machine. And if I have my clamps low, it's harder for me to do things like that. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here, do the same thing here. So you can see these are on the top. I'm gonna slide that in. And then I'm rotating this little knob to get it tight. And I'm pulling on the cord, and this has a slide on it. So I push into the button and just slide it towards the clamp. And do it one more time. Slide that on. I will tell you this, with this being a turn system, I don't untighten these very much when I take them off because I have to screw more if I do, right? So there we go. That's how easy it is to load the frame. I'm actually ready to quilt. Thank you. My name is Angela Clark and I'm with Thread Record Quilting. Please like, share, and follow our video if you found it helpful. And please do comments and tell us what you'd like us to film.